Hi, and welcome to CSCMP's Member Mondays. I'm your host, Timothy Pajek, and I'm the Membership Engagement Manager here at CSCMP. Today, we are pleased to have Stephen Spulick, Vice President of Supply Chain Management at the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority, as our guest. Stephen, who has a PhD from Georgia Southern University, leads the team that keeps Washington, D.C.'s buses and trains running. In addition, he serves on the faculty at Georgetown University and teaches courses at a few other institutions as well. Stephen, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I want to start by hearing your story of how you first got involved with supply chain and especially with CSCMP. Tell us about that.
Sure. So I first got involved with supply chain years ago when I was back on active duty in the Army. And I was a field artillery officer initially and was looking for a change of career. And a friend had suggested the medical service corps might be appropriate. They were going through a restructuring. And so I applied and was accepted in the Army, it's called a medical logistics officer, and immediately got sent off to Iraq to work at Balad Air Base to help move medical supplies through the country. And it was at that point, probably 6 or 7 months into it, as I started to get a handle on what it was, that I really started to enjoy it. Obviously, a lot of job satisfaction with moving medical material to help folks who were wounded, and that was the big pull for me. Job satisfaction, interesting work. Obviously, as everyone listening here knows, never the same thing twice, most days, and that's how I was bitten with the bug. So I stayed in the medical logistics field until I retired just about a year and a half ago, and then transitioned over to transit, where I'm at now.
And how did you first get involved with CSCMP? What drew you to the organization?
I first got involved with CSCMP when I realized that I really enjoyed supply chain management and was looking for, what are those umbrella organizations that are out there? And obviously CSCMP, it's been around for quite a while. So I joined just to see what the additional resources were. Like I said, I didn't come in with any particular formal training. It was a lot of on-the-job training for me, but I knew that there were aspects that I didn't know. So CSCMP been an excellent resource to fill in a lot of those gaps in my knowledge.
What's your role look like right now, and what are your biggest challenges?
Sure. So right now, as you mentioned earlier, I'm leading the supply chain management department at WMATA. And it was newly formed just about 2 years ago. And they're going through a transformation from a decentralized to a centralized supply chain. So some of the biggest challenges include culture change. That's been one of the biggest ones, while constantly maintaining safety of our material. Right. So we're a very large MRO provider for bus, rail, elevator, and escalator repairs. That's the main focus of what we do to keep those assets running. So it's the safety, making sure obviously that we have parts that are qualified and where they need to be to facilitate the repairs, as well as the transformation itself. So we went from 3 logistics operations to 1 umbrella supply chain operation that pretty much covers all of the authority. And with that, the other big thing that we focus on is fiscal responsibility. Obviously, for those of you who have been following the news, transit took a huge hit during the pandemic, which has impacted many industries in many ways. And so there's a renewed look at how we're spending the money that both the municipalities put into us, and we receive funding from Maryland, Virginia, as well as Washington, D.C., and some money from the federal government and the riders. So we want to make sure that we're taking good care of the taxpayer money.
Yeah, the pandemic certainly has been a disruptive force in supply chain, no doubt. One question I try to ask everyone is, what technologies or trends do you see having the biggest impact on supply chain in the coming years? And maybe what's one way you've already seen some of this in your organization?
So I think one of the biggest things is going to be AI, machine learning, and teaming, right? Well, it's not one, that's 3. But they're all closely interrelated as we continue to work closer with the capabilities that technology gives us. As we saw, especially early in the pandemic, one of the things that we found was that speed to market was huge for us to be able to get the PPE that we needed oftentimes a delay of 30 minutes or more, the material would be gone already. So having some sort of a process in place that's aided by technology or can help point you to the right solution, I think will become invaluable. For us, we're not as fast moving in with material as some other industries are. So for us, that was good. But for others where minutes count, I think the aid that you can get and the insight that you can get from those three areas is going to be immense.
What's your proudest career accomplishment that you've had?
I would say taking my troops downrange and bringing them all back home. That was it. My second deployment, we actually ran the medical logistics warehouse. We had about 1,200 lines of material, and we had about 160 customers throughout the country of Iraq, and we were managed to get everyone there safely and return them home again. So definitely, probably the best moment of my supply chain career so far.
Any advice you have for new CSCMP members on how they could maximize the value of their membership? Any benefit that you would recommend they take advantage of?
Sure, I'd say get involved. If there's a chapter near you, definitely get involved. If you happen to be remote, definitely check out all of the resources that are there on the website and find other CSCMP members, whether it's through LinkedIn or through the mentorship program that's available. There are many ways to get involved and stay in touch with people who, and even if you're new to CSCMP, you may not be new to supply chain, but folks who have a different perspective, because interdisciplinary work, I think, is incredibly important. Because this, in the transit industry, we can learn from other industries. It's not just how does transit do it or how does auto manufacturing do it. I think there are lessons to be learned, and CSCMP provides that broad range of expertise in its membership, where you can reach out and gain a different perspective, which can help you solve a problem in your daily work.
Stephen, it's been a pleasure to have you join us for this edition of Member Mondays. Thank you so much for your membership, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.